What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a newer released movie that came out in theaters. And I feel like I haven't gone to the theater in a little bit. I feel like there's kind of a lull since Weapons released of like really quality or interesting films to check out in the theater. And this one in particular, I want to check out for a couple of reasons. For starters, it's directed by Ethan Coen. I am a huge fan of the Coen brothers, and I know a lot of people had a relatively tepid reaction to it, but I actually very much enjoyed Drive Away Dolls. I thought that movie was incredibly fun and entertaining. Took some like really weird, surreal avenues throughout the runtime, and I just had a blast with it. I felt like it was reminiscent of a lot of like earlier comedic Coen brothers work. And while the movie wasn't perfect, I felt like Margaret Qualley was really phenomenal, and the performances throughout the movie, it was just a really good time, and I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure why so many people disliked it. So I was hopeful that this would be in the same vein. And it also stars Margaret Qualley once again, and also Aubrey Plaza, who I absolutely love. I've been a huge fan of Aubrey Plaza throughout her career. I actually got to see her perform live with Christopher Abbott at this stage show in New York, and she's just like one of the most incredibly talented people in the industry. I love that she's kind of taken on a lot more weird indie projects later on in her career. And so, because of all the talent involved, and because Ethan Coen was at the helm once again, I was looking forward to watching this movie. And the film I'm going to be telling you about today is Honey Don't. Honey Don't is directed by Ethan Coen. Honey O'Donoghue, a small town private investigator, delves into a series of strange deaths tied to a mysterious church. So, I was really excited to watch this movie. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the Coen brothers, and so I always look forward to now. They haven't really done a project together in a while. They've kind of gone their own routes and done their own things, but I still love watching what they make. There's a lot of talent involved in this movie, and I kid you not when I say this, this is one of the worst movies I have seen the entire year. I had such an inkling at about the 35 or 40-minute mark of this movie to walk out because of how insufferably bland this is. For a director that has been in the industry as long as Ethan Coen has, and the incredible slew of films that he has worked on throughout his career, this felt like a student film. It was very, very poorly done. And I mean, the performances, the cinematography, some of the editing decisions, even like the opening when they were doing like the title sequence and showing the character names, it just felt like it overstayed its welcome. And I was like, this just feels kind of off, even when the movie started, and it just never picked up. And I just really hated this a lot. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit when I break it down for you today. So I feel like describing the plot of this movie is really kind of stupid because there really feels like there is no plot. Every time they introduce an element to this movie, it kind of shifts focus, and most of the things in this film are left unresolved. At the main focal point of the film, you have Honey O'Donoghue, played by Margaret Qualley, who is a private detective. And even though the film seems to take place in modern day, they are really trying to make this feel like an old 70s police thriller with some noir elements introduced. Like, she doesn't use her cell phone most of the movie. She uses like an old Rolodex. She's got all these different things. She drives a classic car. Even like the way that characters speak to one another, it's clear that Owen was trying to pay homage to a different era. And so this car accident happens, and at first it seems like it's just an accidental death, but when she does some further investigating into it, she finds that it's tied to this church in the local community that is head up by Reverend Drew, played by Chris Evans, and she's going to do some investigating to try to figure out what's going on there at the church. Well, simultaneously, she starts a relationship with M.G. Falcone, played by Aubrey Plaza, who works at the police department that she's constantly going to ask for information. And there's an entirely other subplot with her sister and her sister's daughter, and some trouble that her sister's daughter's getting into. And you're kind of jumping back and forth between all of these different plot arcs, just kind of following this character and her day-to-day life. So like I said, this movie is sort of an insufferable mess. I hated it, and I don't really have anything positive to say other than Margaret Qualley and Aubrey Plaza try their best with this pitiful material. They're two incredibly talented actors, stars that have shown the immensity of their talent throughout their careers, but there is nothing that these ladies can do to save this abysmal material. For starters, this movie has no idea what it wants to be, and it's almost confusing as you're watching it. The movie feels like it wants to pay homage to like detective thrillers and noir, but it never manages to capture the tone in a way that feels authentic or satirical. I feel like knowing the Coens, you would go one direction or the other, like play it very straightforward and make it feel realistic to the type of material that you're trying to pay homage to, or make it feel overt and satirical and funny. And it never goes in either direction. It kind of just like stays at the middle point where you're like, well, this is just events happening on screen, which makes the movie a relatively confusing watch. And on top of that, you have this central focal plot of this church that obviously Chris Evans, he is a grifter. He's, taking advantage of his congregation, all of these different things, but they don't go anywhere with it. Like there seems to be so many different loose ends that don't get tied up. And don't get me wrong, the Coens throughout their career have made some movies that have open-ended, ambiguous third acts that make you continue to question things and that are really thoughtful and well done. But this, it's just kind of like they ran out of time or energy or just genuinely didn't care and they just let the movie end. Any attempt at humor in this, I don't think I laughed once throughout the entire movie. It is like miserable. All these actors just feel like they're trying so hard to elicit any sort of response out of the audience, but the material is so bland that it's really difficult for you to care whatsoever. I feel like any of the societal commentary, like the most I got out of Margaret Qualley's character was that she was trying to be representative of this lesbian character who was constantly throughout scenes trying to, be a force to normalize lesbian relationships and kind of attack more conservative stereotypes towards the queer community. But none of it was really sharp or witty or resonant in a way that I felt like worked. There's one in particular, like it was just almost kind of eye rolly where she slapped a bumper sticker over top of a MAGA sticker on some like trailer park hick that's dating her niece. And I just felt like the timing of it was really weird. Like it didn't feel like, it felt like it came out of nowhere. Like any sort of attempts at trying to create really thoughtful commentary surrounding the queer community or like attacks at conservative ideology, it was just done in the laziest, sloppiest way imaginable. And like throughout the movie, I just kept asking myself, what is this trying to be? Because it's not funny. There's so many moments of just like lull where like any sort of attempts at drama or character building are so thin that you just really can't invest yourself. And the movie's under an hour and a half, which like it was insufferable for an hour and a half. So I really didn't want it to go on any longer, but they just didn't give you enough about these characters. And the third act twist of the movie, the reveal of like sort of what's going on, it's so lazy and uninspired. It's really like you just see that and you're like, that's where you want to take this movie? Like that is the dumbest direction that you possibly could have gone. There's this whole subplot of this kid who's working for the church, and they take this whole like little sidebar of his character, but his character connects so smallly with the remainder of the story. It's just like things happening. That's the best way that I can describe this movie. It is a series of scenes that is occurring that is just so uninspired and bland and boring, and it has nothing of value to say. And a lot of you guys talked about drive away dolls like this movie, and this movie is what you all sort of insinuated drive away dolls was like, and that movie was actually funny and had some sort of purpose and heart, and it was genuinely entertaining. This is just slop. It's horrible, and I honestly can't believe that Ethan Coen put his name on it because it is a nightmare. And if Aubrey Plaza and Margaret Qualley, two incredibly talented actresses, can't save your movie, then it was doomed from the start. So have you seen Honey Don't? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this was one of the worst movies of the year. I have no desire to ever visit this again, and I really hope if Ethan Coen does another movie in this vein, which I think he said this, Drive Away Dolls, and one other movie were a part of a trilogy he's doing, he really needs to make sure that that one pays off in any sort of satisfying way. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everybody, everyone. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.